see. I guess no better place to spend spring break than Pittsburgh. I guess wherever the national tournament is, always a great tournament. Just got done with a workout and looking at that board, getting that a name up there. So Foster's going to get to be along the sides of a Cole, a Nelson, a Miller, a Davis, Lehman. I mean, those kind of names, man, he gets to put himself up there. And I'm leaving a lot of guys out, but we've talked about doing that for a long time, and he made it happen. So obviously huge for him, huge for the program. I mean, it is. I mean, it's a big deal. You get 10 of those. There's 10 of them a year, 10 guys, and he was one of them. The great thing that I'll say is, and you heard Drew talk, couldn't be, and this is as our team as a whole, and I'll talk about our whole team, but listen to him talk after, and the things that he valued, the things that he talked about. He didn't talk about himself at all. And that's one thing that it's a program. It's a program win. It's a win for guys that have come before, the guys that are going to come after. And I tell you what, the guys that are going to come after, the guys that are his teammates, man, they were happy for him. That's the best picture that I saw all weekend, was all those guys embracing him, happy for him, the joy they had for their teammate, even though they just didn't get to achieve what they wanted. They still had that joy, and that made me proud as a coach, because that's what we talk about all the time, about being selfless, about it's bigger than you. This is a whole program victory, and the guys that came before him that helped pave that way, a Cologne, a Peters, a Bone, a Cabell, a Bannock. I mean, the names, and I can go on and on and on and on and on about guys that helped pave that way first. And the thing is we don't forget that. We'll never forget that, and we're always grateful for it. But, man, we're happy, and I know he's happy to be able to add to that and to be up on that wall. I guess we'll never leave the West Gym, so that's up there for the rest of the time. But, man, it was a fun thing. But I'll tell you this, that you can see it in guys' eyes. The guys that are his teammates now, and maybe a little bit of jealousy because you want that too, but I think that's a great thing, that someone's broke through. When we talk about being the tip of the spear, you got to be a courageous individual to be able to do that. You got to be, you do got to be courageous to be the first one. And, man, he was. And if I could think of someone that maybe better represents what I think of our program, being a small-town Iowa kid, not being a state champion, having a losing record in his freshman year. And, you got to go on and on and on. But if you look it up and down and you're looking at the 20 finalists, there's not many stories like that. There's not many guys that hadn't won 4 titles and they've already been, a top 5 or 10 recruit in the country. That's a testament to him, though, and Drew and the work that he put in, how much he believed in what was going on in heaven. And I talk about it, and I'll continue to give Randy all the praise in the world for him seeing something in maybe before Drew saw something in himself. And that's what I talk about, man, having one person that believes in you, man, that's all you need. It's that first domino that falls, and then all of them fall. And same thing with getting the first national champion. You get the first one, and then the next guy. 2020, there's already guys talking about it. And that's the way it should be. And guys are excited. And I'll remind them, and I was looking back at something because I remember, because I talk about this all the time, and I remember it was June 6th. And this happened, it happened to be a day, and I said, this day is as important as any day that we have. It's no more important, and I remember Foster wrote it up on his wall. He put June 6th. I remember like seeing it on Twitter. I'm like, they're listening. And he listens, man, and he's coachable. And part of why he's a national champion, a big part of it. It's hard not to be a little bit, it's bittersweet though. And, because, you have 6 guys and you end up on such a high, but man, there's a lot of painful moments throughout that tournament. And whenever I've talked about, Foster, I've talked about Alber too, because there are 2 seniors. There are 2 guys that led this program. How they lived, how they trained, how they went about every single drill. That we had a 5th-year guys, and sometimes when you see 5th-year guys, it's like, I don't want to say checked out, but I mean, you see it around the country, like, man, let's get this thing done. I've been here 5 years. I don't know, man. I'm ready to get the heck done with this thing. So we had fifth-year guys that were excited to be in there, and they're doing the drills and skills with the energy and ferocity of a freshman, and that's a leader. And those two guys have been incredible leaders for us. We're going to miss them being part of our team, but they're forever part of our program. And if I can convince Reed, I hope she listens to this. If I can convince Josh's wife, we'll keep him around a little bit longer. I don't know. That's gonna be a tough task, but I'm gonna do what I can. But man, that's just the highs and lows of a tournament. You go from one end with Alber, and for me, man, he lost a match. He's done with his career, and then you got to run out there and you got to coach Max. But that's just part of it, and part of what is painful, but also what you love, because you got another guy that he's ready to go out there and put himself. Put his heart, put his everything on the line to achieve something great. So I'm kind of all over the place like I normally am. I'll go through the tournament a little bit. Obviously, got to highlight Drew some, because first national champion in 19 years. It's a huge deal, and it's a huge deal for the program, just the visibility that it gets, but also, like I said, for our other guys, we've talked about it. Like, I can't tell you how many times we talked about who's going to be the first guy, that we have guys in that room. And I'm telling you, we have guys in that room right now that are capable of being a national champion next year. Multiple ones. But what are they going to do between now and then is obviously a big thing. But what are they going to do in those biggest moments? I mean, are they going to rise to the occasion or shrink to the task? Are they going to let that pressure mount on them? And as a coach, I'm trying to figure out, how can I do that? How can I help these guys? How can I help them? So in those biggest moments, Foster in the biggest moment of his wrestling career, and there's 30 seconds left, that he goes back to his training, and that he's willing to go out and put that attack on the line and trust it, that he doesn't make the moment too big. I mean, I got to be able to figure out, and we need to figure out how to be able to do that for all of our athletes. So, anything that didn't happen this weekend for guys, man, it's a learning experience for us too, and it's painful for us. But that victory was a victory for the UNI wrestling program, its fans, and I think hopefully we won over a few fans this weekend. I'm sure we didn't win over some, because some people get threatened, and then they like you when you kind of stay in your place. Just stay right there. It's okay. We don't want you. You can get 12, 13. That's okay. But we don't plan on stopping there. Schwarm, I'll go through our guys, because it is a big deal to make the tournament, to get wins of the tournament. We had every guy at least win a match, and that's important that guys are all going and scoring points. Schwarm, tough first match. The bracket got changed really late, and we were prepared and ready. And actually, he wrestled the guy that he was supposed to wrestle first round on the backside, and beat him in a match. And I'm not saying that had anything to do with it. They had that the old Dominion kid was prepared and ready. I mean, he wrestled a good match, and really, beat Schwarm in a lot of positions. The good thing was, Schwarm came back, got a pin, top 10 in the country in pins again. That's awesome. That that you have a guy that leads off your team and is pinning that many guys. I know he's in the top 10, maybe top like 7 now, maybe at UNI in pins, and he's got another year to move up that leaderboard. But had 2 wins for us, beat a guy that had beat him a couple times on the backside, the kid from Illinois, and lost to 2 really quality kids. But certainly a lot to build on with Schwarm. I'm proud of him and how he responded after that loss. Alber, it's a tough tournament. I don't know what else to say. The guy that he lost to on the front side ended up placing in that tournament, because I think a lot of people are like, well, what the heck's up with this guy? He's beat this guy before, but every match is different. I don't know what to say other than, you see matches get turned around all the time, and man, he had an incredible career, and so proud of him. And if anyone would have been at our banquet, our post meet social, and heard his speech. Yeah, man, I cried. It's okay. I'm not afraid to admit that. Yeah, man, I cried, and I had my head down, and I'm blowing snot out, and but that's the kind of connection you get with your athletes. That's the kind of love that you have for them, and that's how you hurt for them. but he's meant so much to our program, just the heart that he has. And then you hear his teammates talk about him, and how much they revere the man that he is and how he's made them better. And you hear Foster talk about how he's made me a better man, and that Josh Alber's my favorite wrestler. You hear Max Thompson talk about, hey man, we got to figure out how to keep you around. I mean, I know he'd love to have a national title, but I tell you, that's more lasting than a national title. The impact that he's had on our program, his teammates, I'm incredibly proud of him, man. I hurt for him, but if you know Josh, you know that he's got incredible faith, and he understands that things do happen for a reason, that it's going to help make him a better man, a better father, a better coach, and he'll be more prepared for when he has guys in this situation, because I know he's going to stay involved in the sport. Loves the sport of wrestling, and we love him and his family. So Max Thompson, I'm not going to lie, that blood round is a tough round. Holy cow, that is a painful round. But he couldn't have done anything more. I mean, I'm attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked and attacked. And sometimes, you know what, it doesn't land your way. I mean, you do everything you can, and sometimes it doesn't land your way. That's how the sport goes. That's how tough this sport is. But you know, even the guy he beat the first round, that kid ended up to the round of 12. You know, and he got beat by the guy that got second, Jordan, and then had some bonus point matches on the backside, wrestling well, and wrestled an incredibly gutty match against a kid from Missouri. And that kid's a true freshman. You know, I give him a lot of credit. He scrambles well. And I don't know, Max had to be in on him 9-10 times. Got a couple stall points, which you don't see happen a whole lot. I mean, so you know how hard he was working. And I know he's disappointed, but he went out on a shield, though, and that's all we can ask our guys to do. That's all we can ask. And I know they said those guys are hurting, but man, to see those guys look at Foster and how they're looking at him and like, yeah, man, you did it, and we're so happy for you. But I'm gonna go get mine. And you can see it in those guys' eyes. And Max is one of those guys. Proud of him, and you know he's got one more year coming back. Steyert getting on the stand, huge. I'll think about that match against Michigan for a long time. Just how many mat returns, the grittiness and toughness, and just really making up his mind. I mean, that's a situation where I'm just gonna outwork this guy. Don't care how I have to do it. I'm gonna outwork this guy and go. You know, win this match, and he did in that situation. Really lost one scramble in the quarterfinal match against Shields, which, man, you know, you start thinking about things that could have happened, because that's a position where it goes to far ankle. If he stays in front, I think he wins that takedown, and then you know it's a completely, to me, a completely different match. But that's how tight the national tournament is. I mean, sometimes one position, one situation can be the difference between you being on the stand, top of the stand, being in the finals, not being in the finals. I mean, the margin for error is very small. But then came back in the blood round, and he'd been in the blood round a year before. And, you know, you kind of talked about a little bit, just you're going to feel different this time. And obviously did. You know, became an All-American, then lost 2 matches on the backside, 2 hard, tough matches. I mean, the 65 is a deep, strong weight. But proud of him that becoming All-American and having another year left. You know, when you took that redshirt year, it's like, we're going to prepare you to do this. And like I said, getting him come back another year. Taylor, another one you hurt for. I mean, I know maybe I'm getting long-winded, but I'm going to talk about all my guys, and you guys can stay here or you don't have to. But I'm going to talk about my guys and give them their due. But man, it does hurt. It does hurt because you know guys capable a little bit more, and I know I'm off with another guy and kind of watching the match a little bit. And I know he hurt his ankle in that match, which he won 100%. Which, yeah, that's sometimes that happens. We talk about those situations too. That may not always be perfect. You might get injured, and you still have to find a way. But lost to, Hall. He's lost to him in the quarters the last 2 years. He's wrestling and getting beat by the best guys in the country, and he's one of the best guys in the country. Had a pin for us in the second round. The guy that placed. I think that's what. Sometimes you start looking and like, well, man, I beat that guy and I beat that guy. And I'm sure, I beat that guy and I beat that guy. And, you start thinking about, man, I should be up there. And, I know Taylor's another guy that feels that way, but has one more year. And I could tell you this, he won't leave any stone unturned in this next year to make sure that when we're coming back from Minneapolis 2020 that, we're talking about Lujan and we're talking about him the same way that we're talking about Foster. And I'll finish, and I talked a little bit about Foster, but, man, what an incredible tournament, though, from start to finish. I mean, it was really his. I think he got a takedown in the first match in the first 5 seconds and then rode that guy out. And then, that was kind of his tournament the rest of the year, the tournament. I mean, score early, stay composed, no matter what happened. And you could see it, man, and you could feel it. And I just told him, it's your tournament. It was from the first whistle to the last. And the cool thing that he was talking to me about is, in that situation when he got that last takedown, we do a lot of 30-second kind of situations. Hey, you're down by a point. It's a tie match. Go ice this thing, He told me, he's like, I remember one of them, I think he was wrestling Steyert. He said he hit a shot just like that, had the wrist. Because he's like, I could have turned him, Coach. I'm like, it's all right, man. You didn't you didn't need to turn him. You just keep him right there. He's like, I can remember being in that situation one time in a practice. I had that wrist. I had him locked down. We're in a 30-second go. He's like, I'd been there before. And so, to me, that's what we want to be able to do for our guys. We want to be able to put them in those type of moments. And they've been through it a lot, and then they know that they can handle it. And then not just don't handle it, they can go thrive in that situation. But, man, so happy for him, our team, and just the tournament that he had. You go up and down each match. I mean, dominated first match. Dominated second match, rode hard. Every single one of those. And there's a little bit of theme in every one of those matches. He rode guys hard. He made them earn everything, every position. I think to me the turning point in the Dean match is how long you rode him in that second period. And you could see it take something out of him too. He's like, because I think he thought it was going to be easy to get away. And then it wasn't easy to get away. And then obviously getting that riding time where he did. Then all of a sudden you pick down because he got ridden. I don't know if anybody remembers the match at the West Gym. He got ridden out. And the game plan was, and need to move off the whistle. Change over, move off the whistle. And he did. Created some motion, got some separation. Got escape in 8 seconds. And then, you're in that last minute. I can't think of to me as a competitor, to better position to be in. You got, a minute 50 to go, and it's tie match. Man, it's all I got. This, I have this in front of me, man. I go back to my training. Took a good attack. Dean's a good scrambler. I think maybe could have tried to come up in that position, but didn't. Got back up on his feet and attacked again and hit a beautiful attack. I mean, if I could have drawn up how you want to hit attack to finish and have a guy flying on his belly with a wrist, I think that's about as good a spot as you could be to be able to finish a national finals. But yeah, kind of cool having the parents there on the side too. They started doing that in the last couple of years. Being able to get his mom a hug, and I think I was ready to give anybody that wanted a hug. I would even given Rob Cole a hug. I don't know if he would want a hug from me at the time, but I would have. I don't know. I'll stop talking, but obviously incredibly proud of him, our team, and then more than anything, how he's represented our program. You listen to him talk, and I was like, I'm listening to him talk. I'm like, man, I don't need to get up and talk. Like, you need to get up and talk. You're way better at this than I am. But I think what that shows is that guys are listening, and what we want to stand for as a program, the principles that we want to stand for, that guys are listening. And those are the type of guys that we're getting. Those are the type of athletes that are attracted to our program, and those are the type of guys that we're going to continue to recruit and bring part of this Panther Train family. So, I guess any questions?